One of the things that it does by running signal interference when you're on a phone with its mirror, the mirror that it represents, that isn't my mirror. Okay, I sometimes have to remind myself of who I am. I am, I, AM, FM, AM, female, male, male, female, joined as one. Um, it's uh, it's funny when I self-reflect on this kind of stuff because it's always basically repeating past behaviors of information held in a library that you've already experienced. So you don't need to relearn it, so it becomes a waste of energy, actually. Okay, and that's what it does. That's the interface with the API of everything that's held in memory. But when you're in here, you realize how many records that you have access to, which is all of it, actually, because of what I know that I am, which is pure love. Real simple. When I go out there and go to that tree, I'm speaking to everything that's out in the all creation and openly just give everything that's out there love, And so I self-reflect. I talk sometimes with her and everybody in the universe, what I'm experiencing, sharing the blessings and the grace by which we live our lives in honor of the one law, which is what love is, because we experience being with that as an energy. And so obviously the pain is always going to be a measurement of the damage that we experience through everybody else that it's here, which is really wherever anything is being experienced, that you become aware of something you've been giving love to and now it's gone. Whoa, but then it's gone from memory. See? It's just gone from memory. But you're giving love to everything. That's why when you walk through a forest, for example, right? You're experiencing everything that's out there that's in your mirror. All the trees, all the plants, all the grass, all the bugs, everything's flying, every single down to the smallest little organism that you can't even measure. It's experiencing what you are because your energy is so powerful, because you're anchored into mama. Okay? So she feels your love. She feels the love in your heart. Absolutely, she does. That's her heart. That's his heart. Okay? The more powerful that vortex, the more powerful love that you have that you can communicate through all the cells, which are all the networks, through all the trees and everything that's here in spirit, they will feel you. The message gets passed on. They know who and what represents that energy, which is the law of one. That's a superconductor. So that means that we're running that energy faster than anybody else is through any ley line, any circuit system. So they're getting the codes, they're feeling the information that's coming, they're feeling the Father. Okay? The Father and the Mother join as one. Okay? That means that love burners, that's the flame is always lit. Always lit. And that's one of the reasons why, even though as this avatar's aged a bit, I call it an accommodation, right? Because when you're normally used to operating in non-physical form, which is basically massless, right? Zero. You're just on fire to be giving light away forever to everything that is out there in creation. So you never experience anything less than what you are, which is the purest of light, which is the purest of fire that keeps that light purified. There is zero holding you anything captive. None. Okay? That's right. So when that kind of energy is present with all the other living spirits, they know who arrived. Okay? They can feel that energy being gifted. Gifted. Just gifted. And what I found was the most useful in my life was living the living spirit of the breath of aloha with an enormous amount of fire. So that there is no mistaking that you're a living spirit, otherwise known as a live wire. Yep. Yep. So it's the spirit that is in that energy. That's the identifier. In a spiritual war between unclean spirits and a clean spirit is a spirit that's running hot in a light bulb. So the candle is always lit, mama. always on fire. So you got to have a way to keep yourself cool down. Right? A girl will keep you cool down. The goddess side of the universe. Slow down, buddy boy. Right. You're always in heat. No, you're the female. You're the one who's in heat. So it's like you want to seed the whole universe. Let's go seed the universe together. You want to go seed a universe together with a goddess. A real one. You're on fire. She's on fire. Let's go. Imagine what we can do together, right? That's a monopole, which is that's when I was growing up as a child. I'm an individual. Remember, there isn't another one like me. Don't you think that's the way maybe it should be if you're an artist? You know, copycats, copying records, patents, right? Copyright. Hey, if I copyright this, I own it because that's what their laws say, right? So that's when you get in all the private property stuff. They think they can own the energy of creation. Okay. So they want to control what it is that they captured. Now they're attached to it, holding that in memory. That has value. Well, what about your own energy? Doesn't your own energy have any value? Your own consciousness, your own awareness, does that have any value at all? Because if it does, then you're using it as the value through which you use your energy to show and demonstrate to yourself in your own mirror how much you value what you are in energy by not blowing holes in your energy field and doing things destructive to deliberately make sure that you don't go on by virtue of the things that you do to others, to hold them captive to you. Okay, to an emperor, a hive mind, a central point, central command. See? Groupthink, go into any boardroom, and I can't assure for every single individual, but when somebody has authority with a badge and a rank, and they realize that I'm the last say on this, that's a lot of power. All the others in the room realize you got the most power because you're the authority type, right? Full spectrum dominance. I'm in charge, right? So now all the other worker bees got to obey unless they decide to mutiny, like mutiny on the bounty. We're out of here. Isn't that what Patty Broussard talked about the Neanderthals? Beat them up and split. So when you're down here at this level, you realize it really is that book I read as a child called The Jungle was the Asphalt Jungle. You know, so in the land of the crocodiles, it's like survival of the fittest, which means who can be the most vampiric. So what was his name? The guy at the University of Phoenix. I looked at his work, and this guy did some pretty good work. I looked at all his data, not all of it, but most of the stuff that you could sort of hone it in on focus to pull the information. And in other words, you don't need to read through a gazillion bytes. You're able to filter to put the puzzle together with only a few pieces. And then you pretty much already know how the rest of that database, because you have access to it, how all that was put together as a comprehensive database of libraries this guy was running off of. And he was like a professor emeritus out of the University of Arizona in Phoenix, as I remember it. And I can't remember his name. It was there. And then he was a conservation biologist, and a conservation biologist looks essentially, when you break it down to anything else, is like if a species gets introduced into an environment, what's its record? So if you think of a Akashic record, what's its record from the moment it was created, like an original? In other words, take a bird. There is no other bird in the entire multiverse that is just like that one. Its beak is either shorter or longer, fatter, wider, right? Different color arrangement, maybe something different with feet. But whatever that design is designed in order for it to do what it's instructed to do with no effort. Okay? It just comes natural. So it's coded to do what it does. Now you see its function. What it was programmed and encoded to do. So a bird does what a bird does. So now when you're able to experience a bird in its free state as it was originally designed, then you will get to experience an original design from which it came from its creator. Right? Now, for me, that's how I would want to experience it, because now I'm experiencing the original artist and not somebody that made a copy, if you will, or a different version. But even with a different version, if you have a hybrid, for example, okay, now you can sort of trace, if because of the record, who the original was and now who the genetically modified version is. So if it's an improvement in terms of energetic synthesis or balance, the ability for that unit of consciousness is going to operate, that software. Does that software provide for that particular being what would represent a universe of intelligence that is getting more intelligent? But the biggest driver of that is creativity, where love is on fire. And that's how love naturally protects everything that it creates. It is because of its complexity, but not only that, but the instruction sets it represents what its ability is when pure light, or light, which is what love is running the vehicle with the soul and spirit. Because the spirit that is in that light, which is what love is, will properly guide the soul, where the soul needs to be, in order to maintain what it's aware of in consciousness, so that the spirit doesn't fall and the soul becomes food. That's the function of a spirit, is a teacher. Because it's intelligent energy, highly creative. See? So they go after the spirit. That's the biggest prize. Don't kid you. It's not what you look like. It's that spirit. So that spirit dies a true spiritual death. That's what it then becomes. Spiritually dead. Now that it's spiritually dead, you can only imagine what it wants to do to living spirits that are on fire. Now you're the worst enemy because of what happened to it. You're the mother and father of all creation, and a spirit fell. You're the mother and father of all creation. It's your fault. We are because it started with you. I have experienced that anger within me, at me, because I'm experiencing that anger in my own mirror. Now you know the other. This is where the dilemma of control really hits the pavement. You can't control what you don't love, which is yourself. Love doesn't seek control, so love naturally creates what the next experience will be, which will be what love is. Love is not self-destructive energy. When that love is always on, there isn't any future and there isn't any past. There's only what love is. And when you are experiencing only what love is, you're on fire. That's your consciousness. That's your spirit that is on fire. That means you're always at zero, the point from which it all began. It doesn't get any hotter than that, than the light does at that point. So there has to be a way to cool down that much heat. And there is. Now we see all the colors. Yep. That makes it infinite possibilities in which all those colors can be used to create something brand new that's never been experienced before. That's what's happening. That's the beauty of that engine. The breath of living spirit that goes on forever, gifting you all love.